Australia and Papua New Guinea are the nearest of neighbours, and we are the truest of friends. Rugby league is PNG's national sport, and PNG deserves a national team.
It just goes bigger than just rugby league and sport. Uniting the most diverse nation on the face of planet Earth, and also uniting PNG, Australia together. You have no other nation on planet Earth who will claim that it is their national sport except Papua New Guinea.
They must come, and it's Russell what goes over.
Rugby league is the official national sport of Papua New Guinea. Built on decades of growing passion for the game across this diverse and dispersed nation. Although PNG is celebrating its 50th anniversary of independence, the story of rugby league in the region goes back much further.
The history of rugby league in Papua New Guinea is a little bit like the country itself, mysterious and largely unknown.
Long queues are formed by spectators at the entrance to Port Moresby's Baroka Rugby League Oval, where the first inter-territory match of 1966 is to be played between Papua and New Guinea for the Austin Island Shield.
We know there are reports of a game played in November of 1933. They confined it to 20-minute halves because of the heat, but they were predominantly Australians. It wasn't encouraged amongst the national population because of the malaria that was rife. It caused an enlarged spleen. But eventually, by the 1950s, there was an eradication of large amounts of the malaria, and so more nationals were playing because they just loved what they were seeing. And by 1950, there was an inter-territory match organised between Papua and New Guinea, and that continued right up until the 1970s.
And the fleet-footed Geary out faces the defence to score again, under the posts.
In those days, they would select the New Guinea team, which would play against Papua, in order to select the Comoros team. The crowd was good, and it was just amazing when you play in front of this crowd.
It's New Guinea's 13th success compared to Papua's 15th in the series that began in 1950. And during that time, rugby league has made remarkable progress in standard and popularity.
Right from the beginning, Australians provided the inspiration for the game in Papua New Guinea. They were there on business or working in the mines. Some of them were first-grade players from Sydney. A notable one was Mark Harris in the late 1960s. He played in Port Moresby. Mark Harris made a huge impact in rugby league up there, was spotted by Eastern Suburbs, and within 12 months of returning to Australia, he represented Australia at the World Cup in England in 1970. The game was described even in the 1970s and 80s as the national sport of Papua New Guinea, so it really did take root at that time, and more nationals became involved through the 1960s, and by, I think, the late 1970s, it was almost a total national game. That same year, they took on England in the first official international played by Papua New Guinea.
In 1975, Papua New Guinea transitioned from an Australian territory to an independent nation.
Gough Whitlam said on that day that independence for PNG was an idea whose time had come. It was a relationship of equals, a partnership of equals, one based on respect and one based on love for each other's country.
And rugby league was about to become part of the new country's national identity.
But it's 1977, which is the turning point in my life. We played against France. With the wisdom of Sir Jim Late, I was appointed as the captain.
Papua New Guinea took on France and beat them 37 points to 6. So that was a huge moment to inspire the nation to show what could be achieved by Papua New Guinea on the international stage.
When we defeated France, I was chair of the field, and that was a feeling, the crowd was there, and you know, that feeling was just unbelievable. And I can't forget that feeling until I go to my grave. Again, I won the Sportsman of the Year, and at the end of the year, I was named John Wagambi King of Rugby League.
It was 1979 when Papua New Guinea made their first full international tour. They played in England and France with limited success. They had some good results, but it was a huge learning curve for the national players, learning about the game played in different parts of the world. So It led to the first Papua New Guinea player linking with an English club. Philip Ralder joined Bradford Northern in the early 1980s, and he was the forerunner to so many Papua New Guinea players playing in the north of England. And then also it led to Australians. The first Lauta Artoy played in Redcliffe in the early 1980s.
On the back of these successes, Papua New Guinea participated in their first ever World Cup in the 1980s. One played over many locations and indeed years. They defeated New Zealand at home and then faced the might of Australia for only the second time at Test level.
It was an extraordinary experience, and it led to players like Bal Namapo playing at Canterbury and Diary Cavey and Arnold Kawanti playing at North Sydney and Newcastle. And it also inspired a young Mark Mumm to link with the Canberra Raiders in the early 1990s.
I felt like I was a Papua New Guinean sort of breaking ground with those others.
As a senior in rugby league, I'm very proud of those younger people, and therefore I went into the coaching arena. And, you know, I'm very proud when I was appointed Kumul coach. I tell you what, the highlight is in Townsville. All the spectators in the Townsville are on our side.
Difficult one for Daly. He loses it. Joseph grabs a try. You don't think they'll celebrate this one, and they deserve it.
And the score then was very commendable. And this was a team made up of 100% of all the players domiciled in Papua New Guinea.
Under the post is he! Magnificent! What a great try. And don't the Papuans celebrate, and so they should. The sports reserve will be totally invaded.
It was the heart that prevailed. And that's one thing I can be very proud of my team, that they put the country ahead of their personal interests.
With these strong showings, further opportunities were presented to the Kumuls at the highest level.
Back then, everybody would be talking about the Kumuls. The nation would stop. My first experience playing internationally was at the World Sevens. So I had just finished playing with the Australian schoolboys, finished my first pre-season with Canberra, and then the World Sevens was on in '93, so I played for PNG.
Toivita. He's got the legs too. No one's going to get near him. Go and score, my friend. Get him, Billy. Billy Harrigan, the closest one to him. Oh, the swallow dives.
And then we ended up making the bowl final with the Raiders.
And a nice run. Mullins coming quickly, but the Papua New Guineans keep the football alive, and they're looking very threatening, and this is going to be a magnificent Papua New Guinea try. What a try that is! Scored by Tuksi Karu.
We went into extra time, so playing against these guys that I've been training with, and I've got to tackle Laurie now, and it was sort of my first taste of like international footy and playing against, you know, the first grade players, because I was still only in under-19s. So that was a great experience for me. Then I just knew that I wanted to be playing international rugby league, so I wanted to be playing for my country.
Up it goes, it's probably too deep. The chasers are going to be the bounce of the ball. Oh, he's come out of the crowd. Let me tell you, he's come out of the crowd, and that's a try. What about the pace of that? He gave him about 30 metres start.
Next time on Papua New Guinea, a rugby league nation emerges.
I don't know what else I'm going to do. I'm just going to do my best.
Bob brought a level of professionalism, and he also had a network within rugby league that brought expertise.
We won all our 3 games and went to the quarterfinal for the first time ever.
Look, chance now for Marcus Bai. It came off a French hand, and Marcus Bai is going to get the first try of the game for Papua New Guinea.